Go questions, coach, real quick. About 5 minutes.
How's the week been, response been since coming back off the road?
I thought Monday and Tuesday a little sluggish. You know, they had 2 days off, Saturday and Sunday, and Sunday had to be the off day. Now that we're back playing on Friday night, now it's Saturday. So I thought we were a little sluggish, you know, Monday and Tuesday. I thought Wednesday and today were really good. So makes me feel better, but definitely thought the last 2 days were good work.
Did y'all do any extra tackling drills this week, and how'd that look?
As much as you can on dummies and those donuts and the new apparatuses we have for that, yes, we had to. We missed 30 tackles. But you know, you just at this point in the season, it's really hard to tackle live on your guys. We need everybody, even the scout team guys. You know, just don't have enough. But yes, we made an emphasis of that in every endo.
Do you expect Amari to go?
I do not.
How prepared has Omar been the past few weeks? That we didn't see him in
He's
that
learning.
first game. But
He's learning. I have zero worries about handing him a run play. It's just the other things that come with playing that position. You know, in particular the pass pro. It's just, you know, for a freshman that hadn't played and knowing every game there's going to be 2 new blitzes that you haven't seen that they have game planned for us. You know, how will he do in those moments? That's I think that's and that's not a knock on him. That's normal. It's a freshman running back, but excited to see him get some reps.
On the same, you know, about Robinson, just kind of coming in. I think he only got 1 carry last week.
Yeah, you know, the game was just, you know, you feel better with the guys that have some maturity in a game like that, but definitely have. His is kind of the same thing. No problem with the run game. Just being able to do all the things that, you know, Domar, it comes pretty natural for him in Cobb because they've been in the program a couple of years, and making sure there's a lot of things that happen, you know, with O-line calls that they have to be aware of because that picture changes on the O-line, and if Connor changes a protection, there's a way that he should know that, and is he locked into that? And so that's what we need to see some growth in both of those.
How much do you think Jackson and the receivers were looking forward or really want to go out there and show what they can do in the passing game?
There's no doubt. I mean, all of us are anxious to see if we can throw and run the right routes and be on time and be effective in that, because you're going to have that. And, you know, we're obviously confident in the receiver's ability, but it's not just about ability. It's about us being on the same page, on the same timing, and us protecting and all of those things that come with it. So they're certainly, you know, I mean, they want to throw and catch it, you know, but we're going to play to win the game, whatever that means.
What do y'all?
It looked like the defensive backs earlier this week in practice were working with, I guess, kind of like mitts on their hands. I don't know that I'd seen that before, but I imagine that was, you know, something you guys were maybe emphasizing this week, but just, you know.
Well, it's twofold. Yeah. One, we had 2 holding penalties on a critical 3rd down and a critical 4th down that were legit. I mean, they were there. So we got to get our hands off of them. And then the second part in one-on-ones is we don't want to pull one of our receivers down, you know, and get somebody injured. So that's, I don't think anything ever hurts with that because it forces them to play with good technique.
What are y'all expecting from kind of Ball State defensively, like what they want to do kind of on film?
Well, they've been who they are last year and last week. So I don't, it's really hard to probably change that. And so, you know, when they're they would base out of a quarters team, which most quarters teams, you know, safeties are active in the fit. And their safeties are physical guys that you know, you would expect them to be at least a semblance of who they are. And so, you know, I don't know that they're going to change that, but they could obviously play one high or do different things that we'll have to get in. Every game there's all right, here's a new little flavor that we've got to adjust to as coaches for our kids. But I don't know that you can go all through fall camp and be who you are and then all of a sudden totally change that. So I think it'll be a semblance of what we've seen.
Hugh, how much fun was it to see B. Frazier and Jeremiah Wright and obviously with tape and and Damari, Robert Woodard, Zykevis Walker, these guys that stuck around to
Yeah.
have success. How valuable is that for a team?
It's well, it's rewarding, because you're so happy for them, because all of them stuck in and love Auburn and want to see Auburn succeed. And so for game one, we succeeded, and they were a huge part of that. And so you dang celebrate that. And hopefully that they have more of those games where we can celebrate the fact that they stayed around, got developed, and are now reaping some of the benefits.
I don't want to assume anything, and you want Jackson to get as many reps as he can with these guys, but how do you sort of balance making sure that he's comfortable and also thinking about Ashton and Deuce and trying to just make sure that they're sort of get some reps?
Yeah. First, let's win the game, and whatever that takes. And should we need another quarterback to go in, Deuce will go in, and we'll kind of go from there. I mean, the Ashton is an incredible player, and we need him. But at the same time, let's just be honest too. And I've had this discussion with him. He has another year if he doesn't use the year this year, and so all of that's in my mind. Of, I'd love to have that guy for 2 years. So you got to try to balance all of that, but at the same time do what's best for your football team to win the game. So that's the juggling act you have with Ashton, is because, man, I would absolutely love if I knew I had 2 years with him. But to do that with the rules as they currently are, he'd have to play in no more than 4 games in this season. So all of that's in my mind. All the more reason that we should eliminate that craziness and go 5 for 5, with these kids. But that's the whole thought process. And maybe I'm too out front with that, but I've had that conversation with him, and he's so mature and understands it. And so you got to kind of juggle that.
All right.